I will review 8-strand braided line that compares well to most Japanese braids, but really it shouldn't at this price point. It's an offering from Handy called Blast. I will cover properties such as thickness, roundness, smoothness, stiffness, and value. Let's have a closer look to find out more. And another thing I want to mention, I'm testing only thin braided lines here. Thick lines, it's not a problem. You can get thick lines even from, from known brands for cheap. But to get thin quality braided line, that's a problem. And I'm trying to solve that problem with this video, or with all of my videos when it comes to braided lines really. So thin quality braided lines are very, very difficult to make, and as a result they are very, very expensive. But this is an exception in my opinion. So let's compare this braided line as per table. Let's clean it up a little bit in here. So first category, thickness, right? I'll grab that 0.10 as you can see here, and I'll grab that Varivas or Siguar, apologies, and I will do a trick so it wouldn't be, like a optical illusion. So I will paint some of that line white, so it would not look different when comparing on, like, let's say, white background. And I will do the same for the cheap handing braided line too. I'm not painting a lot, just a little bit, so that I would be able to tell apart. So as you can see, this one on the left is this Budget Blast, and one on the right is the Siguar. It's very difficult. Again, believe me when I'm saying I'm trying my best to get these lines in the shot, and it's not easy. So again, maybe that one on the right is a little bit thinner, but I don't know. It might be, just perception thing, I don't know. But maybe it is a little bit thinner. So Siguar might be just slightly thinner, but it's not a lot at all. So since that Siguar looks a little bit thinner, I will give like 10 to Siguar and 9 to Blast. And obviously I will compare the dual a little bit later. Now I'm just working with, thinnest lines. Now let's go with the roundness, right? There are many ways probably to tell again how round the line is. For me, the best way to tell how round the line is, not smooth. We will come to the smoothness later, but now it's about roundness, right? So what I like to do is just like grab maybe a couple centimeters of that braided line, and you just kind of twist with your fingers. And if the line is flat, you would see that it's twisting a lot, and you would be able to see those twists. So as you can see, with Siguar, it's not like exactly a round braided line. It's not bad, but definitely some twists are happening. Definitely better. Not by a lot, but better. I will give 7 to Siguar and 8 to Blast, because in my opinion, and from what I can tell, it's a little bit better. Now, smoothness. Again, the best way or the easiest way, not really scientific in any way, but just how it feels when you touch it. So this Siguar is really smooth line, really nice. And I used it a lot. It's quiet line for sure. It's not loud line when you go through the guides, and This one actually, believe or not, is a little bit smoother. Just slightly, just a little bit smoother, I would say, at least in this diameter. But they are close. They are very, very close. Maybe a little bit. Yeah, we'll give 9 to both of these lines because they are both smooth. Now stiffness. This Siguar, like when new, it looks very, very stiff. But after using it a little bit, it softens up a lot. It never goes like to being like too soft and causing all sorts of, problems like tangling around the rod tip and so on. But it is soft once, you use it a little bit. And this one is definitely softer when it's new, definitely softer. But good thing is that once it's, being used or when it's wet, it does not change the stiffness. So I would say once you start using them, they are very, very comparable. Very, very comparable. Even though new, as I say, this Siguar looks way stiffer. So for stiffness, I will give 9 to both of them again. And when it comes to the value, really, there is no comparison there. This line costs about $4, I believe, depending where you will be looking from. This one costs nearly 20. And again, please note that I'm talking here about 150 yards and 200 meters, but I can get like 500 yards, I believe, of this line for about $9 or $9 US. So I mean, value for this one is insanely good. So for the Siguar, I will give like 7 because still it's a good value, for this line. But in here, it's easy at 10, easy at 10. So bottom line goes like this. As you can see, those two braided lines, they do compare very, very well. They are more or less equal in most categories. So the difference is the price. You're just getting high quality braided line for not a lot really. Oh, and one thing I have to mention is about the colors. As you can see, this blast braided line is in dark green. It's called moss green. Really, I would love to see it like in white color, because this green color, I don't know why, but in all braided lines, I had Daivas and other braided lines that were in this color. This color fades out very, very kind of quickly. So I used this braided line for a few, occasions, and I started noticing that it's fading. And when you put it onto the spool, it kind of bleeds a little bit into the wet cloth. But again, since I do not like this color, for me it's a bonus, that it bleeds out a little bit, and then it becomes almost, I hope one day it will be white, because for lure fishing especially, I would prefer it to be a white line, my favorite color. So yeah, I hope Handing, the company, the manufacturer, will produce different or this line in different colors as well. Ideally, it would be white, like no colorings whatsoever, nothing, to bleed out, and yeah. But other than that, performs great in my test so far as well. Okay, now let's compare the thicker ones, right? I will move the thinner ones out of the shot, and let's talk about those two, right? So, dual, I will paint it black right away, just to have a better idea. Here we go. Same deal here. I have this blast on the left, and on the right I have this dual. Again, it's like to my eyes, yeah, you know, like 1-to-1. Let me pull a little bit more of these lines so you would see that this one, as you can see, it's gray. So that's a dual, and that's a dark green, moss green. So that's a blast. And yeah, when you have them in one color, you know, it's easier to tell, you know, apart if one is clearly, you know, thicker or thinner. But in this shot, clearly they are the same more or less. So thickness wise, this diameter is really awesome on this budget line. Again, they are both in a correct diameter and both are good. They do look the same to me. Maybe this dual is a little bit thinner, but I'm not like 100% sure. Just by looking, you know. So since it's, you know, a maybe, I will give dual a 10. Oh, I need a correct marker. And then when it comes to roundness, dual is actually quite round line. Not many, you know, twisting is happening. But it's not, you know, round ideally for sure. And this handing, it's similar. I can't tell really difference between the dual and this cheap blast. So I will give 8 to dual. Then smoothness, right? So this dual is a smooth line, really, really smooth. No complaints here, really. And this handing, it's difficult to tell them apart. I would say maybe dual is a little bit smoother, but just like no, I will give 9 for the dual again because it just feels the same. Now when it comes to the stiffness, right, this dual, like when new, is like super stiff. Like really, really stiff line. So I can see it being, you know, a problem, at least at first, because, you know, it's like super stiff. Obviously it will wear out and then it should be okay. I can't comment, you know, how well, you know, it will perform when used for a while, but like initial stiffness is definitely too stiff. So I want to give like 8 for the stiffness because it's just too stiff. At first, definitely it will cause, you know, problems when it comes to casting. It won't cast very well. It will be loud through the guides and so on. And value actually I can give 8 because, you know, it's not expensive braided line, and it, you know, it matches quite well with what I tested in this video quite well. So, you know, and a little bit better than Siguar, I would say, maybe. So yeah, value is 8, and I believe at least when I bought it, it was a little bit cheap as well than the Siguar. So as you can see, this blast, like cheaper braided line in 2 diameters that I, you know, tested, compares very well to Japanese braided lines. Like every category, they are more or less equal, accept the value, because as I say, it's just like insane value for money. And you're getting, you know, a high performance braided line that is, you know, thin, round, smooth, and has correct stiffness as well. Obviously, time will tell how well it will perform. Since I used it just for, you know, I don't know, maybe 12 hours in total, like total fishing time, so maybe in more time it will, you know, show some problems, but for now I am very happy and very impressed with it, and I can easily recommend this braided line for you to try out, like based on what I shown in this video and based on what I have found whilst, you know, testing this braided line on the water. And yeah, if you want to try out this braided line, I will leave a links in the description below. Click on them and obviously read other anglers' reviews. Maybe you will find something similar to what I said, or maybe you will find out that there are some problems with this braided line. If there are some problems, don't be afraid to leave those issues in the comments below. Other than that, get some. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.